student of life. Present. Who else is a student of life? Answer present. I sit and I observe and I take notes. I want to share something that I've noticed with you. I wonder who else has noticed it. Something quite insidious. Something that is sitting there and trying to destroy as many people as possible. And I want to open your eyes to it if you haven't noticed, because I have. Have you noticed the trauma merchants? The trauma salesmen? Trauma is now merchandise, and they're using us to build real estate. They're building real estate of trauma, and we are the products. Come and take a listen. No. You have to say no. You have to say no. If you don't say no, they will use you to build their brand. You will remain in that cocoon. You will remain in the web of pain and misery, going round and round in a loop of pain, in a cycle of pain. You will be and you will keep on seeking these things that validate and confirm that you are a victim. You've been traumatized. This is what happens. This is your lot. Because you will begin to accept this thing as your lot. Don't let it happen to you. Some people are stronger. Some of us will decide, okay, this is my destiny. This might be my destiny. Maybe this is my destiny. Oh, this is my lot. Oh, don't let it happen to you. Reject them. Don't sit in their stories. Don't keep company with those people. Gravitate towards what you want, what it is that you want in your life. Don't spend your time with all these gloom and doom people. Oh, because you were traumatized at childhood, so it has now made you this and now made you that. Don't see yourself as special, because I'm telling you, I know I was particularly singled out. And traumatized. And for years I thought of myself as special. If only they knew what happened to me. If you knew what was happening to me. Oh, if only they know what is happening to me. Oh, poor me. Anytime that you're seeing yourself and calling yourself poor me, just know that they've got you. And now, refuse it, reject it. Because life is there for us to live and enjoy. Anything that makes you feel like you are a victim, remove the garment of victimhood and throw it away. Listen to this thing. I saw something on social media, and when I saw it, no, we don't accept this. Something that before I had a mindset change, a mindset shift, I would have just said, yes, it's true. And the thing is that it's not that these things aren't true. They are true. However, they're only just half of the story. And when we continue to propagate only that half, that negative half, without putting the positive half, we don't know that we are blinding people who are still going through that pain, who are still processing it. We're just helping them to sit there and to really let these things seep into their spirits and to continue to hold them in bondage. All right, I'll be right back. As I was saying, the trauma salesman, it's all over the place. People are talking so much about trauma and mental health, how trauma does this to you, how trauma does that to you. And I don't want you to misunderstand where I'm coming from. I know what trauma does to a person because I lived it myself. But I want to open your eyes to something. Listen, my friends, if you've been traumatized, this is just traumatizing you all over again. If you've had a traumatizing experience, a relationship, this is positioned to just traumatize you all over again. Have you ever noticed that what your mind takes in is what determines the experiences that continue to happen with you? That's one point. Now, another point is that misery loves company. When I see people talking so much about trauma does this to you, trauma does that to you, without bringing it, circling back to give a way of dealing with that trauma, I'm very worried and very angry. Because what I see is that they're just capitalizing on the fact that it draws people who have felt traumatized in and keeps them in that victim mode. It keeps your mind seeing yourself as a traumatized person. And when you keep seeing yourself as a traumatized person, no wonder you keep on having more and more trauma experiences. One of the reasons why the things that they explain to you will happen to you because of the trauma that you faced happen, I mean, those things actually turn out to be like predictions and prophecies that come true in your life. One of those reasons is because you are still in the victim mode. You are in the victim mindset. When you're remaining in the victim mindset, please accept this from me. I know this. This is something that I lived. When you're remaining in the victim mindset, when you haven't been able to get yourself out of that frame of mind that you are a victim who this thing happened to, what you're going to do is inadvertently, you're not going to know when you accept that this is what happens with your life. You need to actually deliberately and consciously peel off, take off that cloak, remove that identity, like remove it like it's a second skin that you had on. You have to really peel it off and throw it away and say to yourself consciously that that is not me. And anytime that you come across something that tries to tell you that this is what happens to people like you will say consciously, verbally aloud if you have to, this is not me, this is not results that I get, this is not outcomes that come for me, this is not part of my life. And you will refuse it. You just refuse it. Start from there. Gravitate towards what you want. Don't spend time with these things and these people and these evil drug peddlers who want to keep you there, recirculating the idea that you're a victim, that you've been traumatized, and that you're going to have experiences that a person who was traumatized in that way will have. And they tell you this directly. They tell you that when you've been traumatized, when you've had nasty experiences, you find yourself stuck in that loop. But what are they doing when they keep on putting those things before you? That is the image that you keep on looking at. And that is the image that stays in your subconscious, and you keep on seeing yourself as a victim. And I am telling you this from the position of someone who has insight. You know that misery loves company, right? What happens when a person feels heartbroken? That's when you find them spending a lot of time listening to sad music. When you hear women talk about how women suffer so much, women go through a lot. When I hear those things, I always shut it down. When I do that, I believe that people who hear me when I shut it down feel like I am maybe invalidating their experience. That's not what I'm trying to do. I shut it down and I say, no, that's not true. Women do not suffer so much. And the reason I say that is because it's just because that narrative has been created for such a person and they've bought into it and then they're living it. And that's why they gravitate towards those videos. People send me those types of videos. You see. The thing is, if you send me that video, I can understand that that is a valid experience that you've had. But when that video doesn't now circle back to empower you, and all it just talks about is how you've been punished and how you've been given that part. That is your experience in life. What it does is that it continues to seal that idea that this is who you are, this is your identity. Because you don't even know that that's the fact, that's the reason why you resonate so much with it, and you want to pass it on to other people so that they can see and validate and confirm the fact that this is actually a fact, that the situation of people who go through this is what it is. But that story isn't complete. It isn't complete at all. I want anyone who puts things out, when you put out anything that talks about the effects of something, also talk about people overcoming those things. Because if you don't do that, what happens is, I'll tell you, for me personally, when I was in a place where I felt very sad and I was unhappy and I felt wretched, I gravitated towards those things. And in fact, even before you get into that place where something bad is happening to you, you would have heard stories of people who are in bad places, and you hear sad stories, you hear sad things, and you hear that someone who this happens to feels this way. They feel sadness. What you don't know is that somewhere inside you, you're going to tap into those things because they've sat there in your subconscious. So if anything happens to you that is like that, you will now begin to take that in as, this is who I am a victim, and now you actually see those things that they say happen to those people play out. You see all those trauma responses play out with you, right? Because you get to a point where you even begin to accept it as your fate. And unfortunately, because these people are out here, today in 2025, we have all these things all over social media. Everywhere they're talking about people that have gone through pain, people that were dealt this hand from this group of people, from maybe men or from maybe parents. Actually, I want to talk specifically about trauma from childhood abuse, because that's what led me to talking about this. Somebody dear to me posted something talking about how childhood abuse positions people to never expect happiness. It is true. That is true. But what I would like for us to do when we post those things is now talk about, yes, this positions you to never expect happiness, but it's not that way. Because when you recognize that what happened to you at the time that it happened to you, but you can see yourself in this way and aim for things in this way and understand that that is not your identity. If I make a post like that, from now on, what I want to do is also go either under that post or in the comments and say, you don't have to live this way. This, that, and that is how you get yourself out of it. Because what happens when I make a post like that and I don't say anything afterwards is that anybody who sees it accepts it. And I'm telling you this from the position of a survivor. When I would see things like that, I would say, yes, that's us. Yes, that's us. The moment you validate it for yourself, it becomes you. And your mind you don't even understand that this thing has reframed the way that you see life. That's why you see that people who are in abusive relationships, continue to see themselves in that, and they don't know. You don't know. That's why when I would say to someone, this doesn't have to be your reality, and they will say, oh no, you don't know, because this is what it is. All we have to do actually is say to ourselves, this is not going to be my reality. We have to recognize that, when we've been abused in any way, it makes us feel specially singled out for that abuse. It makes us feel like, why me? This was done to me. But when I talk with other people who did not have special abuse, what I found now is that they also feel like they were specially abused. And so it got me to a place where I said to myself one day, you're not even special because of what happened to you. The reason is, it's not that when you've been singled out and abused in a situation. It's not that you're not specially, it's not that you didn't face a special abuse that was targeted at you. It is that your response to that, while you're thinking that you're responding specially to something that specially and specifically happened to you, people who didn't even have anything specific and special happen to them see themselves also as having been punished in one way or the other. So, what I'm trying to say is that don't see yourself as someone who belongs in a category of people who have been or who live as a victim. Because I tell you most solemnly, even people who did not have specific and special abuse for whatever they went through, they feel the same. They feel exactly the same. Many people do anyway. So, what we now have is that many people just feel like something wrong was done to them somewhere, even when it's something that just happened in the normal and ordinary course of life. So, don't be seeing yourself as specially abused. And of course, I'm not talking about extreme cases like in cases of RAPE and stuff like that. See yourself as a member of the human race where there are different phases in life. And you went through a phase where this thing happened to you, or maybe you're going through a phase where this thing is happening to you, and it is not your fate and it is not your destiny. But when we keep on seeing these trauma peddlers, these trauma salesmen, if I were still in a place of trauma, I would accept everything that they said, hook, line, and sinker. And guess what? At some point, I did say to myself, okay, this is my destiny, this is my fate. It's just like a woman I was talking to not too long ago. I told her to do something, and she said, Uzo, that will never work because you don't know me. If I attempt this, it's going to fail. And she said, because every time that I try this, this has happened. Every time that I try this, this has happened. And I was like, okay, I want you to try this. And you will soon find that what you said is not true. Because you've accepted that that is your destiny. She actually said, in Igbo we say, oh, akarakam. She said, akarakam. And I'm like, no, nothing negative is your destiny. Especially if you recognize that you don't have to accept it. But the moment that you accept it, automatically it becomes you because you've accepted that name. It's like if I'm walking down the road, I know that my name is Uzo. I am Uzoma. Anybody who calls that name, even if they don't know me, even if I'm in a city where I don't know anyone, once they call that name, I respond. I respond automatically, even if I don't know anyone in that city, because it's me. I've accepted that identity. That is me. Right? But if you're calling a different name, if someone who saw me and I look like their friend Desiree, and they're calling Desiree, I will never turn around to look because I haven't taken on that identity. So the moment that you see yourself as women are people who face this, take them. You continue to live that. I know that that's not for me. It doesn't belong to me. That has nothing to do with me. So I completely reject it. Right? So when you see these trauma peddlers, they want to keep you there. I don't know if I even see very established psychologists having these conversations and they're talking about how trauma does this to you, trauma does that, and you see that repeatedly. And I wonder if I know that they know better. And so I am believing that that's not the full conversation, but the person who brought them on for that conversation just wants to use it to capture the audience, and they know that there is a large group of people who feel traumatized, and they want to use that to capture that audience, right? And so that's what they're doing. They are re-traumatizing you because they are putting you in that victim mode. They're leaving you there, and they're using you as their market, that they're creating real estate on you. Let's not allow them to do that. Do not see yourself as someone who's been traumatized. If ever you see that type of information, I want us to just use it as for informational purposes. You can listen to it, you can read it, take what is there so that if you see those things happening in your life, you identify, okay, this thing is happening to me because of this thing that I went through, right? Just understand that this is why it's happening. And then what you have to do is look for how to health yourself out of that. Look for how to mindset yourself and mind frame yourself out of that. Understand that this is something that happened is past tense. Even if it's present tense, okay, this is the result of this thing that's happening to me, right? It doesn't have to define me. I don't have to continue like that. I can choose. I will choose what I want. Because when your name was given to you, you weren't even there. But after that, every time that you hear your name, you respond to it. You have accepted that identity. If you didn't like it, having come of age, you will change your name, right? So now, change your name from the person who was traumatized and who experiences this, that. So that when you just see those things, you will know, okay, it's as a result of this thing, but I am not living that life. Also, I think it's because of social media. They're capitalizing on it to draw attention to themselves, to draw attention to their wares and whatever it is that they want to peddle to you, whatever it is that they want to sell to you, and you're falling for it. Don't fall for it. Stop falling for it. You see, there are those people who build their brand around this. All their movies are about people who have been abused and oppressed, a certain group of people who have been abused and oppressed. I hate those movies because they continue to spin that narrative and people begin to make these imaginations in their heads, believing that this is what people like us go through. That's why when you see those people who come and all they're posting about is they just talk bad about a group of people. They talk bad about it. But see, misery loves company. Just like you like to listen to the sad music when you're feeling bad, that's what these people do. They've been through something. Either they now just want to capitalize on it and get attention of other people who have experienced it, and then they're enjoying it. Maybe they're making sales of something on it, or they still live in it. They're still living in victim mode. And now they just want your company so that you can all come and be nodding and be saying, yes, this is how it is. Like you see, men who have gone through difficulty at the hands of women, you'll see where if any man is out there talking about women at this, is always talking negative about women, all the people that you see gravitating towards that are nodding are people who also experience the same thing. And now they want to convince themselves that, yes, this is what happens with women. This is what women do. But if all these things were true, why is it that some other people don't have those experiences? So just the fact that it happened does not mean that that is reality. It is just something that was a phase or is a phase or that happened or that is happening to you. You don't have to accept it now as life. Because once you accept it, and this is how you don't get out of that thing, you actually bind yourself to that trauma because you now continue to see it as reality. Speaking from the position of a person who went through abuse, I know that at the time that I was living that, I actually believed that this is reality. This is what life is for me, and this is what the world is for me. It wasn't until I realized that I didn't want that life. I don't want this life. And then I was able to step out of that character. You can't even believe that it's the same person now. The difference is black and white. So let's just be mindful. These people are just making an endless cycle of victimization to be a reality. And if we accept it, we'll continue to live as victims in victim mode. And you will not be able to step out of that place because they have built a character for you and you have taken it on as your identity. Refuse it. Refuse it. Oh, I was talking about that woman. And so she said, if I ever try this, I will not come out of it with positive results. It won't end well. And I was like, okay, let's give it a try. You know, that's another thing. So if there's something that you want, give it a try. Even if you believe that it won't work. Mind you, if you believe that it won't work, 9 out of 10 times it won't work. But if you have someone there, if other circumstances are there, you might just find that when you try that thing, you'll see that what you thought was your destiny and your fate is not. So it starts from you taking a step. If you believe it's better for you, if you don't believe It's bad because that not believing is going to put you in a place where even when you see the situation and circumstances that will allow you to tap into what you want, for the fact that you don't believe, you're not going to go forward. But even if you do take that chance, even when you don't believe, you stand a better chance of having success from it. That woman did that thing that I told her to do, and she was shocked when the results turned out right. So don't fall for this trauma thing and stop binging on these things. Those stories aren't meant for you. Take those stories as just information for informational purposes. Use them to understand what is happening with other people, understand what is happening with you, but don't take them as your personal message. Don't allow them to use you as their puppet. A lot of us are going through life actually sleeping. We're not awake. If you are awake, you would understand that in every moment in time, your number one job is to be responsible for yourself. Take care of yourself. Guard your heart. Guard what is going on in your mind. Reframe things. The noise that is out there is going to poison you if you allow it. Ask yourself, what am I about? What do I want? What do I want to live? And then reject everything that doesn't align with that. But if we allow ourselves to fall into the traps of these people, they're just going to and keep us embroiled in this unending cycle of trauma. Let's not allow that to happen. And if you're ever going to say anything, like I said before, please make sure that you circle back to telling people that the life doesn't always remain this way. The life of a person who's been through this doesn't always remain this way, because many people have come out of it because they realized that they could live different and they could have different. Always take it to that, circle back to that, and make sure that you don't leave that loop open so that someone doesn't come across it and swallow it with love.